Bluestone Mountain, zoals ik zojuist vertelde, uitvoering van Don Rigsby. Maar dit was eigenlijk het eerste grote succes van Mark Brinkman. En wie kan er denk je beter vertellen over het succes van Mark Brinkman dan Mark Brinkman zelf?
Oh.
Toch?
Ja, dat geloof ik zeker.
Dat geloof ik ook, ja. Dus daar hebben we een truc voor uitgehaald. Dat heet Skype. En ik ga dus even in het Engels verder.
Ik vind
So
ja.
I will continue in English now, and I hope everything works fine. I was just saying Bluestone Mountain by Don Rigsby, and of course those final notes on the dobro being played by Jerry Douglas. We want to hear all of that, don't we, Brink?
That's true.
Hi.
How are you?
Doing great. It's great to hear you. Thank you so much for joining us here in the Netherlands, all the way from the United States.
Yeah, we're down in warm weather Florida.
You're in Florida now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, that's beautiful. I was just saying the song we just heard, Bluestone Mountain by Don Rigsby, that was your first major success, your first major label success. Of course, what I'm interested in is how did you start being a songwriter, being involved in music, and how did all that lead to this first #1 song? Can you tell us about that?
Well, I've been writing songs all my life, probably since I was a teenager, and I just loved doing it. And eventually, I started doing it professionally. And I wrote that song in probably the mid '90s. And I remember I pitched it to Don on a cassette. That's how old it was. And he called me on Thanksgiving Day and told me that he recorded it. So that was pretty exciting for me, and I had a great Thanksgiving that year, a lot to be thankful for. And it's been recorded about 15 or 16 times since. The Kruger brothers have recorded it amongst several others. So it's always I love hearing different versions of it, and the song's been very good to me over the years.
Yeah, okay. You say more artists have recorded it. Don Rigsby was the first, I understand. What year was that?
I think it was either 1999 or 2000.
Okay, around that. Okay. So when you write a song, is there? Do you just write a song and then wait and see what happens? Who is interested, or do you write songs with maybe some certain artist in mind, or how does that work?
You know, when I sit down and I get an idea, I just try to write the best song that I know how. I don't know whether it'll be in bluegrass or Americana or Southern rock. I don't really know until I start playing it, and it can be arranged many different ways. Mm-hmm. Actually, Bluestone Mountain has been recorded in several genres, and I just love to hear it, the different versions. But you know what you do, and you tweak it, and you get it to where you play it around, and you get feedback, and then once you get a final version, you record it in a demo form, and of course, then once it's demoed, and it could be just a guitar and a vocal, as long as it's good quality, and then you start. I start looking for artists that I think may be in that style or may like the song, and then I start sending it around, and Don loved it, and you know, it's I think it's one of his favorite songs he's ever recorded, and I love Don singing anyway. He's just a wonderful singer, so it was an honor to have him record it.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you know, and the Kruger brothers as well. So it's been a good song for me over the years.
Yeah, well, Don is absolutely a great singer, great performer. I had the pleasure of meeting him both in Columbus, where we met, and and also back here in the Netherlands when he was on tour. Yeah, it's wonderful, and yeah, to have seen and hear him play the song myself, it's really awesome. So, are there also artists that particularly come to you and ask you to write material for them?
They come to me usually and ask me if I have anything that they might be interested in. You know, over the years, I've been fortunate. I've probably had, I don't know, 300 or 400 songs recorded now. And many bands, before they go in the studio, will email me or call me and ask me if I have any songs that might fit them. And of course, then I go through my catalog and and try to get 2 or 3 songs that I think may be a hit for them. I try to get them one that could be a single and maybe even a chart song, number 1 or top 10, and then I'll send 2 or 3, 4 songs, and of course, sometimes they love them and sometimes they pass on them, but that's the nature of the business when you're doing it. I try to pick the best songs. I try to write the best songs I can, and I always like them. It's songs that are like your kids, so you always love them all, but they have to fit the project too. And sometimes there's a theme for a project, and sometimes maybe you'll send them a minor sounding, a dark sounding song, and they've already got 2 or 3 dark sounding songs on the album, and they might love your song, but then they'll pass on it for that time because they already have 2 or 3 of those similar sounding songs.
Yeah.
You just keep throwing. I call it shooting spit wads. Like as a kid, we used to shoot spit wads at the wall. Sometimes they stick, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, absolutely, I understand. Yeah, to be able to do that in that process and sending a band a song, that means that you must know the band in that way, because to determine whether a song is fit for them or not. So that probably involves some research on your part.
Well, it does. You have to be familiar with who the lead singer is. If you have a female that's a lead singer and you don't want to send them a male-oriented song or vice versa, you have to know who's going to be singing the lead. You need to know what kind of a range they have. If you send a song with a huge range of notes and they're not able to sing it, then there's no point in sending it. So you have to be familiar with your clientele, when you send it out, and their style. And if they're a more traditional band, I write a lot of progressive things, but I also write a lot of traditional stuff. And if you a band is traditional, I don't send them any of my progressive stuff because they're just going to laugh at me. So it's and you build a relationship, like you said, at the different festivals. We talk and always ask them when they're going to record, and at IBMA and the different conventions and the Spigma, and it's like any other business. It's a personal relationship, and once you establish that network or personal connection, it makes it a lot easier to connect later on, and they're more receptive to your songs than if you have a personal connection with them.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds good. Now, my goal for asking you to join us in the program today is because, and it kind of hooks up with what you just said, I like to put the songwriter more in the spotlight, because we always like songs, we like the artists, but I wrote in my blog today, no songwriter, no song. So that's where you come in. But yeah, I think that is true, isn't it? It's fair to say that.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the song, but the song has to come from somewhere, and
absolutely,
and,
yeah.
So hopefully, there's a lot of great songwriters out there, and
oh yeah,
I have a lot of respect for all of them, and I've co-written with a ton of them. So we're all kind of a small community.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to touch on a little different thing, and then that's leading up to the next song we will go play in the program. I think I can say you are a singer-songwriter, and I think it's fair to say mainly a songwriter, but can you tell us a little bit about the singer, Brinkman?
Well, I played a lot of instruments all my life. I started playing piano when I was 4 years old, so that was my main instrument for a long, long time. And of course, then the folk scare came, as they call it, the Kingston Trio and all those folk groups, and I started playing guitar, and then I played rock and roll, electric guitar, and then found bluegrass at Bean Blossom years and years ago and fell in love with it. So I learned to play banjo and mandolin and screech a little bit on the fiddle and things. But I've utility hit for a lot of bands. I've never really wanted to tour, and my voice is pretty average, would be on the high point.
Okay.
It's nothing special, and so I sing enough to be dangerous. That's about it. But
Okay, yeah.
I enjoy singing, but it's fun to do a lot of. I do a lot of songwriter shows, and I think when you tell the story behind the song and have the songwriter sing it, there's a different feel because they know where the song is coming from. So
Yeah.
there's nothing better to me than to hear the songwriter sing their own song. I mean, I remember sitting at IBMA and listening to Hazel Dickens sing some of her songs, and I'll tell you, I had more chill bumps than you could count
Yeah.
just by listening to her, and she would not be ever called a tremendously, beautiful voice, but I'll tell you what, she's so soulful and like that because she's singing the songs that she believes. It's a whole different feel.
It's coming from the heart.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, you did sing. You did put out a project on the brink of a dream, and you selected a song for us to play next in the program. Can you tell us about that song and just introduce the song, and then we'll start it in?
Sure. It's a song called Grandpa's Way of Life, and actually, when I wrote it, I wasn't sure anybody would record it because it's a song about my own grandfather who came over from Norway, and he used to drink the coffee out of the saucer, and I thought he was the only one to do that. Come to find out, that's a kind of common practice, at least for older generation. And so I wrote the song about him, and the Spinney brothers, of course, they're from Nova Scotia area, Canada. They were down, and they came over to my house one day, and I played them probably 35 songs. And they grabbed onto this song and recorded it on one of their albums, and it was they did a great job of it and went to #1. It was up for Song of the Year several years ago, and but they heard it. I had put it on this album before, so I had fun singing it because it's a very personal song to me. So I hope everybody likes it. We'll just play Grandpa's Way of Life.